What's going on, ladies and gentlemen of the nation? Your dude Sly here, back at it with some much needed Bioware news. Now, for those of you out there who've been following my channel through the past few years, you guys know I am all about Mass Effect. And even though Bioware has had some rough luck the past few launches, I still believe that things can be turned around. The immediate future for Bioware revolves around Dragon Age 4. How they plan to handle that is of course still a mystery. Some say it's going to be a live action type of game, Anthem with dragons as the saying goes, but I've also heard that that's false rumor. But no matter what happens, that's what's up next for Bioware, in the next year or two. But looking out for the long term, according to Jason Schrierer from Kotaku, another Mass Effect game is in the very early stages of development, which, my friends, is absolute music to my ears. Despite what a handful of well-known critics and YouTubers said about Andromeda, I personally didn't find it anywhere near as bad as most made it out to be. It had its issues, sure, but the overall game I thought was fine. Now, was it a Game of the Year type of material? Absolutely not. But for an adventure game set within the Mass Effect universe, I really didn't think it was all that bad. Unfortunately, the very early stages of development probably means we're talking like 3 to 4 years down the line from now, if not longer, and who knows what can change in that amount of time. But rest assured that if it's Mass Effect related, guys, you're going to find everything you need to know about it here in Sly Nation. The next stop on the news train, let's talk about Anthem, another game that was harshly criticized, but this time rightfully so, unfortunately. The gameplay itself, especially the flying and the combat maneuvers, power, or gear that you used, I thought that felt really good. Nothing needs to be changed there at all, but the loot, the progression, the upgrades, the open world, you can tell that Bioware struggled to find a direction and ended up settling for a mediocre middle ground. But to their credit, they have pumped out a massive amount of updates, and now there is word going around that Anthem is going to be completely overhauled. In the same article, which mentions Mass Effect, insider sources talked about how that overhaul has already been taking place. Anthem 2.0, or Anthem Next as it's now being called, is basically a foundational overhaul of the game, taking Anthem apart piece by piece, system by system, and rebuilding it, keeping the good, changing the bad. The problem with what Anthem had before was that the changes needed were so deep into the fundamental systems of the game that trying to change any one of them would have caused the game to go haywire, and it would have taken way too much time to try and fix all that stuff and then also deliver on the DLC plans Bioware had advertised. Jason Schrierer said it best that there is no better way to get views on YouTube than to climb up on the hate train and declare Anthem dead. Both EA and Bioware have remained consistent in their stances that Anthem is a project they are dedicated to and will be working with for the foreseeable future. A recent blog post by Chad Robertson, which was posted last month on Bioware's website, in which he thanked all the players for their support and for participating in the Cataclysm event, which was by far its best post-launch content drop to date. Still, not what I was hoping for, but fun nonetheless. In that blog post, Chad doesn't directly say a huge overhaul is coming, but instead they are dropping the ACT style of content and instead will focus on seasonal events for the next year. To me, this definitely looks like they are doing something big, dropping their plans for the larger content updates and instead going back to smaller sized events for the rest of the year, while the majority of the team more than likely focuses on rebuilding. Of course, this whole Anthem Next or Anthem 2.0 is hearsay from unknown sources, but Schrierer is usually spot on with his sources, and while I'm not a huge Kotaku fan, I am of Jason Schrierer. If Anthem was really going belly up and folding, think about it. There would be no need to stretch it out for the rest of the year and waste tons of money and resources by doing small little events on a game that they plan to shut down. That doesn't make business sense, so something big is definitely coming up. I've always said that the best thing Anthem can do is to stop all of their future DLC plans after a certain date and then just rebuild it. Take a year or more and bring back the game I know that they can make. Bring back the game we were hoping to get. I've met a few of the devs at E3 and I can tell you they know what needs to be done and they know how we feel about the game. But you have to remember that Bioware has a boss, and when a separate company is owned by a larger one, often ideas clash. No game is beyond saving. The most prominent, the MMO Final Fantasy XIV. It came out with such high expectations, as did Anthem, and within days the fans knew this was not the game they wanted. And like I've said before, sometimes ideas in the head of developers never fully translate properly. So what did developer Square Enix do with Final Fantasy XIV? Well, one day a huge meteor appeared in the sky, and it grew closer and closer as the weeks went on, until suddenly, poof, it landed on the entire game world and killed everything in it. No joke, that's literally how they shut the game servers down. An entire meteor just took out everything. Square Enix went back and dug deep to make changes for a little over a year, I believe. It was finally rebranded as Final Fantasy XIV Heavensward, which is arguably the best MMO out there, even rivaling World of Warcraft. Of course, Heavensward is now old, and there's been a couple of updates since then. But still, Final Fantasy XIV is still one of the best MMOs to date. Remember No Man's Sky's launch? How it fell apart, but the devs dug back into the game and slowly over a year or so launched various large DLCs and updates and turned it into a great game, the great game it is today. I mean, nothing at all like it was when it launched. If you haven't played it, you should just check it out just to see how completely different it is. It is a very, very different game. Of course, Anthem is a little more complex than No Man's Sky, but not as complex as Final Fantasy XIV. Also, Square Enix is a massive company, and while Bioware is no small studio, they're not as big as Square, and there's already a ton on their plate as is. The end goal was for the Bioware Austin studio to take over Anthem once the core game launched and all of its main content updates were fulfilled. But with how Anthem launched and its reception, that hasn't fully happened. Instead, both teams are now reportedly working on Anthem 2.0 or Anthem Next. You know, I personally believe that Anthem has so much potential, guys, and if done right, could be a complete game changer. However, it's going to take massive amounts of work and a lot of time. But Destiny did it, other games have done it, why not Anthem? I still plan on following Anthem and covering it, but there has been so much silence on the game recently that it was hard to keep you all updated when I had no idea what was going on myself. So that's the reason why you just kind of saw most of my Anthem stuff disappear, because I really didn't know what to report on. But moving forward, guys, if Anthem 2.0 or Anthem Next turns out to be true, then that's Bioware's next big task, making a public space for announcements such as the Division's forums or Bungie.net for Destiny, weekly or at minimum monthly updates on the game, the community, and what lies ahead. To get the fans back and the community back together, this is going to be a must-have, and I hope to see things start to come back together fairly soon. However, one thing that is working against Anthem, mistrust, time, and money. There is no way EA or Bioware could ask people who own Anthem to pay for Anthem 2.0. No way. So all of that work is going to have to be kind of made free. But if they end up creating something awesome, something that you can pick up and play for free because you already own the base game, then if it's good, it's going to spread like wildfire. People want to play new games. They crave new stories, new adventures, and whether or not Anthem proves to be that game in the future, well, we'll have to wait and see, but my friends, here's hoping. So the big takeaway from all of this, Mass Effect 5 is coming. Yeah, I can't wait to start hearing news about it, but I don't know if they plan on keeping Andromeda as kind of like a within the universe kind of story, and then going back to Earth, which is probably what they should do, but either way, I'm excited to see what's next. The past is the past, guys. It's behind us. Let's learn from it, move on, and make something awesome for the future. But yeah, that's it, ladies and gents. Just a quick news video for those Bioware, Anthem, and Mass Effect fans out there. While we may have been battered down just a little, I know we're still out there, and I can't wait to see the community come back to life with a new announcement of Mass Effect. But until then, thank you for watching, and also thank you for supporting Sly Nation. In the meantime, check out some of my other videos, including game reviews such as Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, which, by the way, if you're a Mass Effect fan, throw in Tomb Raider, Dark Souls, a little bit of Uncharted, and you basically have Fallen Order. It is fan-freaking-tastic. But be sure to also stick around for my Destiny guides and other gaming videos. Spank the thumbs up, but only if you enjoyed yourself, and subscribe for the latest Bioware, Mass Effect, and Anthem news. Keep those eyes open for more videos coming out of Sly Nation in the very near future. But until then, this is your dude Sly, and I will see you all in the next one.